Judges chapter 2. Infidelities of the Israelites. A messenger of the Father went up from Gilgal to Bochim and said, I brought you up from Egypt and led you into the land which I promised on oath to your ancestors. I said, I will never break my covenant with you, but you must not make a covenant with the inhabitants of this land. You must pull down their altars, but you did not listen to me. Look what you have done, for I also said, I will not clear them out of your way. They will become traps for you, and their gods a snare for you. When the messenger of the Father had spoken these things to the Israelites, the people wept aloud. They named that place Bochim, and they offered sacrifices there to the Lord. Then Yeshua dismissed the people, and the Israelites went each to their own heritage to take possession of the land. Then the people served the Lord during their entire life of Yeshua and those elders who outlived Yeshua and who had seen all the great work the Father had done for Israel. Yeshua, son of Nun, the servant of the Father, died at the age of 110, and they buried him within the borders of his heritage at Timnath-Heres in the mountain region of Ephraim, north of Mount Gash. When the rest of that generation were also gathered to their ancestors, and the later generation arose that did not know the Father or the work he had done for Israel, the Israelites did what was evil in the sight of the Father. They served the Baals and abandoned the Father, the God of their ancestors, and the one who had brought them out of the land of Egypt. They followed other gods, the gods of the peoples around them, and bowed down to them and provoked the Father, because they had abandoned the Father and served Baal in their staunch. The anger of the Father flared up against Israel, and he delivered them into the power of plunderers who despoiled them. He sold them into the power of the enemies around them, and they were no longer able to withstand their enemies. Whenever they marched out, the hand of the Father turned against them, as the Father had said, and as the Father had sworn to them. And they were in great distress. But the Father raised up judges to save them from the power of their plunderers. But they did not listen to their judges either, for they prostituted themselves by following other gods, bowing down to them. They were quick to stray from the way their ancestors had taken, who obeyed the commandments of the Father, but they did not. When the Father raised up judges for them, he would be with the judge and save them from the power of the enemies as long as the judge lived. The Father would change his mind when they groaned in their affliction under their oppressors. But when the judge died, they would again do worse than their ancestors, following other gods, serving and bowing down to them, relinquishing none of their evil practices or stubborn ways. The anger of the Father flared up against Israel, and he said, because this nation has transgressed my covenant, which I enjoined on their ancestors, and has not listened to me, I, for my part, will not clear away from them any more of the nations Yeshua left when he died. They will be made to test Israel, to see whether or not they will keep the way of the Father and to continue in it as their ancestors did. Therefore the Father allowed these nations to remain instead of expelling them immediately. He had not delivered them into the power of Yeshua.